Lorrin Woodman, one of the two co-founders of Baxter and Woodman, set in motion back in 1946 the company's currently held tenets of cooperation, camaraderie, and collective success. This friendly, forward-thinking man brought with him a strong commitment to the family, team, and community, and instilled these qualities in the organizational fiber for the remaining 64 years. A chain of chance encounters repeatedly brought together the two company founders, Richard Baxter and Lorrin Woodman.
Baxter graduated from Northwestern as a civil engineer in 1937. I graduated from Harvard in engineering sciences, and that meant you had to be mechanical, electrical, and civil. You had to have some of each of those. And my intent was my father was a lawyer, my intent was to get to be a patent lawyer. And that first, after I finished college, Baxter when he finished, he went to work for the Illinois State Health Department. His father was the director under Governor Horner of the health department. I went to work for Malcolm Perney and Associates, and that summer my father died of a stroke. And since that contact was gone as far as being a lawyer is concerned, and Malcolm Perney said to me one day, he said, I don't know who's going to be running the world, whether it'll be the Nazis, the communists, or ourselves, but I know they've got to have pure water and get rid of their waste. He said, why don't you go back to Harvard, get a master's degree in sanitary engineering, and go get a job with some health department and learn about sanitary engineering.
Young Woodman took that sound advice. He then became classmates with Baxter in graduate school, both completing their degrees in 1938.
He went back to Illinois, and I was looking for a job. And the best offer I had with the Metropolitan Water District was $120 a month. And Baxter sent me a telegram, which arrived right at the time of the 1938 hurricane. Anyway, I had a telegram and it said, have job, $200 a month. And I became a Midwesterner right then. The health department had these district offices, and I was assigned to the Woodstock office, and Baxter was in the Aurora office.
When they weren't focusing on the state's health and sanitation issues and had downtime on the weekends, they chummed around together.
They said, boy, we're going to war. There's just no way that we can avoid it. And so in the fall of '41, we decided we'd better get ourselves some applications for commissions. Well, I got one as an ensign in the Naval Reserve. Baxter, being a year older than I was, got one in the Coast Guard as a lieutenant, junior grade. And so he outranked me. I was commissioned 7 days after Pearl Harbor and was on active duty 2 weeks later. Actually, we both ended up on the island of Guam after 4 years of being in service. Baxter was a lieutenant commander of a construction battalion which was building Lorrin stations on all the rocks that stuck out of the Pacific between Guam and Tokyo. They put a Lorrin station so that the B-29s could find their way going and coming from Guam. And I was assigned to the Island Command, and my job was to make sure that the water supplies for the Army, the Navy, Coast Guard, and the Air Force were all proper.
During the war, their friendship was renewed and strengthened. Upon returning home, they considered a new business venture together.
Our jobs were good with the State Health Department, and we could have gone back to those, but we decided, let's take a flyer at it and set up our own firm. And we started it in January 19th of 1946. after we'd gotten home alive from 45. The first office we had was in my mother-in-law's basement on a homemade drafting table. You couldn't buy a drafting table. There were none existing. They had all, the war effort had taken all of the tables there were. And my father-in-law made us a drafting table. It tilted up, and it was an old kitchen table that he had taken. And we started there. So we moved to the north side of Crystal Lake, on North Shore. We found a summer cottage that we could rent, and we moved. And Dick and Jane, his wife, moved into this cottage, and that was our office, the living room, and it had a single pipe furnace, which made all the heat rise, and we were warm up above, and our feet were freezing.
The partners made a few additional moves from a storeroom with no windows to a commercial office looking down onto William Street. For 2 decades, the business grew along with their reputation for providing quality engineering. Lorrin Woodman carried on with enough zeal for 2 people. Additional space was again needed, so he bought the old Home State Bank building. By 1968, they had outgrown that location, and Woodman purchased property and built a new facility in Ridgefield. When Illinois changed the law allowing engineers to practice as a corporation as well as a partnership, Woodman became the company's first president in 1969.
At that point, we had 26 employees. And when I sold the firm to my associates in 1975, we had 63 employees. But I thought it was still going to be a very small firm.
From the onset, Baxter and Woodman sought to take care of their employees. They fostered a sense of solidarity and friendship among all employees and throughout each department. They promoted personal service and meticulous client support.
I think that the fact that all the city councils and village boards that we associated with expected either Baxter or myself at their meetings. And it was the personal service that we were able to give, and I think that culture is current today.
It was always important to Lorrin Woodman to have a one-on-one relationship.
All these towns they deserved to be served, even the little ones. It was that not only the big cities, but the little guy got service from us too.
Woodman hoped that the company would carry forth his philosophy and continue to provide service that the founders would be proud of.
Well, I didn't anticipate it, but I was hopeful that they would hang on to the name and that they would continue to give the kind of service that has made the name worthwhile. But I don't think I was assured of that, but I was very pleased that they had kept it.
In 2007, Lorrin Woodman reflected on what Baxter and Woodman, the company, offered. The employees had been just as progressive and made equally as vast improvements as the founders themselves.
Today, reading the brochure that's on the front desk out there, what they do was 1,000 times more than what we do. It just was a progressive improvement of what Baxter and Woodman is capable of doing.
More than 40% of the Baxter and Woodman staff are employee owners who take pride in their work and in carrying on the founders' doctrines. A cohesive family preserving Lorrin Woodman's legacy of commitment and community service. Today, Baxter and Woodman has over 190 employees and 9 offices in Illinois and Wisconsin. As Lorrin Woodman once speculated, the rest of the story must be told by them.